Rookies. Oftentimes they're the part of your team that gets you excited for the future and possibly even the present when they show off their true potential. With the majority of teams at or close to the 10 plus game mark, I wanted to do a check-in on this year's rookie Overwatch League players. Today we'll be going over 10 of the rookies that have impressed me in Season 3. Keep in mind that this list does not go in any order, by the way. Before getting into the list, I wanted to give a few honorable mentions to people who barely missed the cut who I also think have been very good. Those people are Fielder, Ansan Sniper, Myungbong, Jerry, Doha, Sanguinar, Krong, and Edison. One other honorable mention goes out to someone who technically isn't even a rookie. I'm talking about Funny Astro. The reason I wanted to bring him up is because some people might consider him a rookie. He was on a two-way contract with the Atlanta Reign last year and did play a map for them, but some people might not count that. So if you are one of those people, then let it be known that he would have made this list if he actually was a rookie, in my opinion. With that out of the way, let's kick off the list. Let's get an obvious one out of the way first. Filling out one of my spots is none other than Alarm. I know, right? So surprising. Whoever could have saw this one coming? I'll cut right to the chase. Alarm has been disgustingly good. And I mean, no duh, right? It was to be expected. He was a prodigy in contenders. He was even compared to Jonek back then, and it was only a matter of time until he unleashed that potential at the highest level. I, for one, believe Alarm has been the #1 flex support in Season 3, let alone one of the top rookies. Now, something like that is clearly up for debate, but he's undeniably been at the top of his class, regardless of whether you think he's #1 or not. Him and Funny Astro have helped elevate the fusion to a new level. No matter what hero he's had to play, Alarm has consistently been destroying the competition. It's not always easy to get yourself noticed when Carpe is on your team, and yet Alarm has found a way to do so consistently anyway. I don't even think some people realize how much of a difference maker he's truly been. As of right now, he is my leader in the Rookie of the Year race, so it goes without saying that he had to have a spot somewhere in this video. Let's get another obvious one out of the way. Next up on the list is Xe. I know he's only played like 6 games this year because he had to get some back pain sorted out, but there's no way I couldn't include him on here. Every game he's participated in has been winnable with the exception of that Houston game, but you can't really count that one since he only played 1 map if I remember correctly. So if you think about it, Paris technically has a 3-1 record with Xe as a starter. Since his departure, things have gotten tough. Paris still have been winning games, but you can't help but feel like they might have been able to squeak out another win or two in some of those close matches since he became inactive. If he was there to help, there's a good chance he'd be the difference maker in one of those 2 Philly losses, or maybe the recent matchup with the Valiant even. The point I'm trying to make here is that Xe had a large impact on this team's ceiling. He truly has been the #1 hard carry on the roster. Other players have done their part, but his contributions have arguably been the largest. Right from day one, he was making people cower in fear, and he's proved himself against some very respectable hitscan players like Carpe, Surefour, Logix, Babybay, and Corey. They all had their fair share of struggles against him. He's been so unbelievably dominant, and you can find him among many of the top stat lines. It's a shame he had to take a step back to heal his persistent back pain. He had such a great start to his rookie campaign. Hopefully he comes back soon. Coming in at the #3 spot is Yaki. In the last month or so, he's really come into his own. His A+ effort and contributions have allowed for the Mayhem to take great strides when it comes to their competitiveness. This guy has been a problem as of late. He's been a force on that Tracer. I mean, my goodness. Among all Tracers this year, he ranks close to the top in nearly every category besides damage. He's top 2 in final blows, top 3 in eliminations, and his death rate is the 4th best per 10 minutes of players with at least an hour of playtime. When looking at his echo stats, they aren't quite as insane, but they're still pretty high up there for a majority of the categories. But it's not just the stats that make him stand out. He very much passes the eye test. Going toe-to-toe with Carpe in that tournament match is a statement. He's proven he can hang in there with some of the greats on their signature heroes. He is more than living up to the hype he built upon during his time on Runaway. If Yaki can keep up this elite level of play he showcased in May, then the rest of the league is in big trouble. Him and the rest of the Mayhem are getting more and more confident with every passing day. Moving on to player number 4, I've got Glister of the London Spitfire. This one may surprise some people, and some of you will probably disagree, but in my opinion, he is one of the most underrated rookies we've had in Season 3. Sure, London won't make you jump out of your seat with their current record, but they still have been quite competitive, and Glister is largely responsible. The guy deserves a lot of praise, and he's absolutely looked like a premier hitscan star on the rise. What I really do love about Glister right now is his Widowmaker. There's some stiff competition on that hero, and yet he comes in as a rookie and shows some of these veteran players up. It's amazing how rarely he loses Widow duels. He has so much confidence in his ability to win the 1v1. He's right up there with the likes of Happy, Carpe, and Saya player when it comes to counter-sniping, and that's pretty alarming, right? That's some elite company he's joining there. The stats might not jump out for you in some cases, but all you have to do is look back at the tape and you'll immediately understand why he's been receiving a lot of hype. He's been the one to find the opening pick or secure the cleanup kills needed to put the game in his team's favor. I've loved the effort and confidence out of Glister so far. Hopefully more people give him the recognition he rightfully deserves as the rest of the season plays out. At the number 5 spot, it's going to be FDGod. If you want to talk about a rookie who has vastly outperformed his expectations, then this is your man. I've been so satisfied with how FDGod has played on a game-to-game basis. He's been a nutcase on his signature hero Lucio, proving that it wasn't just a one-time thing during that 2019 World Cup. I know some people are going to criticize him for his high death rate, but I honestly don't mind it. He's a Reddit Lucio. Constantly going headfirst onto enemy lines is what he does. That's his style, and I mean, it's not like it hasn't been working. He is one of those players that finds a way to stand out on the least flashy position in the game, arguably. While his Brigitte could still use a little bit of work, his great overall performances have made up for this weakness. You can disagree if you'd like, but I'd like to think FDGod is a potential top 5 player at his position right now. In my opinion, he is a better version of Cruz. The aggression factor is there, but the French connection helps him synergize better with some of the players around him. Another thing to bring up with FDGod is his ability to consistently show excellent synergy no matter who is lined up next to him. He has gone through 3 different flex support partners this season, not to mention all the other substitutions that have gone on at tank and DPS. It's total madness, and it's hard enough as it is to build up good chemistry with one set of guys, so doing it with so many different teammates while looking comfortable is incredible. FDGod has been the consistent piece of this team, and he never ceases to amaze me. Moving back to DPS players, I've got Lip taking up a spot as well. Coming into Season 3, I wasn't really sure what to expect from him. With him coming from a Korean contenders team that struggled to even make it through trials, it was hard to get an idea of what he was truly capable of being on a bad team and all. Not only that, but he was staring down some stern competition to crack the starting lineup. Diom was one of the premier hits game players in the league in Season 2, so being able to overcome him is quite the achievement. That goes to show you the type of player he is. He stared fear right in the face, and he has made the most out of the opportunity given to him. And look at him now. Not only does he start for Shanghai like 95% of the time, but he's also genuinely been one of the nuttiest hits game players in the league. As a full-time starter, he's been quite reliable. Starting as a rookie on a contending team right from day one is no joke. The pressure's great, and yet he's dealt with it perfectly. Another thing I'd like to mention about Lip is that he has done work on a handful of different heroes. He can click heads on the Widow or McCree, or make your life a nightmare on the Sombra. I'm also a big fan of his clutch factor. When his team needs him to come up big, he almost always delivers. Lip fits right in with his new team. He's done a wonderful job. Coming in at the number 7 spot is none other than Gangnam Jin. With him being surrounded by flashy players like Yaki and BQB, sometimes people forget about him, and that's a shame because he's quietly been having a solid rookie campaign. Now, he's not necessarily going to jump out at you as this top tier flex support or anything, but he's not too far off. He may not be among the top when it comes to healing stats, but he's still in 5-digit territory for both Ana and Baptiste, and he's a fragger too. He isn't just great at keeping his team up, he makes other contributions. But more than anything else, his intelligence is what truly stands out for me. He is almost always where he needs to be. I mean, just look at his death rate. He leads all Ana players with 60 or more minutes of playtime with a league-low 3.3 deaths per 10, and he's not far behind on Baptiste and Zenyatta. He doesn't make many mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. He knows how to keep himself protected. Unlike some other young prospects you'll see, he already has the skills and the intangibles needed to put his team at a different level. Coming up next is HanBin. Believe it or not, but that's now 3 Paris Eternal players in my top 10. Apologies if that's a little boring to some of you guys, but can you really blame me for having another Paris player? The rookie additions to this team have elevated them into elite status. HanBin is no different from Xe or FDGod. Literally right from the time he stepped foot on stage, he was straight up owning. You gotta love what HanBin brings to this team. He brings the number one thing I want from an off-tank player, and that, my friends, is consistency. Off-tank players tend to have a lot of responsibilities, so constantly having a good game can be really tough at times, and yet HanBin finds a way to do so anyway. For me personally, he's up there with the likes of Choyobin, Fury, Void, Gargoyle, and Space when it comes to overall consistency and reliability, and the fact that he can do it across multiple metas on multiple tank heroes makes it even better. Like with FDGod, he He also has to do it while playing with different partners all the time. Depending on the situation, he'll either be with Ben Best or No Smite, and sometimes he has to play with both of them in one game. It goes without saying that his two main tank partners are very different. You gotta appreciate that HanBin can perform equally well with both of them, and it further goes to show the type of player he is. He's no doubt one of the strongest rookie players of 2020, so squeezing him in somewhere on this list was a must. Filling out the number 9 spot is none other than LiJing. Yet another stupid good Reddit Lucio makes the cut. But I mean, I'd be crazy not to include him. He's been nothing short of excellent. I mean, my god. You want to talk about making a difference at the main support position? This is the number one person you bring up. He might not have the healing statistics of other great Lucio players in the league, but why worry about healing so much when you can do the damage yourself? He leads all Lucio players in both final blows and eliminations per 10 minutes. Not to mention that he already has 28 environmental kills to his name. Some might see this style as selfish, or potentially a weakness that could be exploited, but if you ask me, that's not the case. LiJing realizes that he's part of a well-disciplined roster. He works with a smart group of guys who know how to stay out of trouble, and if they don't desperately need his help, then he might as well try to set up some plays. And I mean, it's not like he's never there when his team needs him. He knows what he's doing. He wasn't a top-rated rookie prospect during the 2019 offseason for no reason after all. His sound barriers are usually on point, and I have similar praise for how he plays Brigitte. He has an aggressive playstyle, but he does it because him and his teammates have a lot of mutual trust between each other. They let LiJing do what he wants, and it's clearly been working for him. This guy is a beast, enough said. And last, but certainly not least, I have KSP. This particular player has truly blown my mind this year. I was well aware that he was talented based off of what I saw in Contenders and in the World Cup, but never did I expect him to light up the scoreboard this much in the Tier 1 scene. He's a true freak of nature. Forget rookies, he's one of the strongest DPS in general. I know some of you probably hate me by now for bringing up stats so often, but I have to make another reference for the sake of giving KSP the respect he deserves. Okay, so KSP has literally been a hard carry machine. He currently sits in second place for final blows and solo kills, with only Carpe being ahead of him. Oh, and by the way, he currently leads the league in total damage with over 600,000. Carpe, who is in second place, is over 45,000 damage behind him. I mean, come on, that's ludicrous. The rookie sensation of the LA Valiant is simply not human. Even being in the same stratosphere as Carpe from a stat standpoint is honestly insane. And that's just what his totals are looking like. His individual averages on Widowmaker, McCree, and Ashe are among some of the league's best. Oh, and did I forget to mention he has already set the Valiant franchise record for final blows in a match? So many accomplishments all in such a short amount of time. And let's not forget about the clutch factor he possesses. Anytime the Valiant have been in a game this year, he's been one of the guys to show up. Whether the result is a loss or a win, he usually does his part. There's so many examples of it. There's week 1 against Dallas, the time the Valiant beat the Shock, that close loss to the Gladiators, the Atlanta reverse sweep, and of course the Paris tournament game most recently. KSP had his fingerprints all over each of these examples. I'm convinced he's more machine than human. He's been having a phenomenal season that will surely be one for the ages if he can keep up this kind of pace. And with that said, that pretty much wraps it up. Those are 10 of my favorite rookies in the 2020 season so far. Who makes your top 10? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, then it would mean a lot if you could hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. While you're at it, consider following my Twitter, joining the Discord server, and becoming a channel member for some extra support. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.